This is part 3 and I will link part 1 and part 2 below. Before you go any further with this video, do go back and see part 1 and part 2 because I'm just going to continue on with part 3 and you won't know what I'm talking about. So pause this video now, go back, watch part 1, part 2, and this is part 3 where things get even worse. So here is yet another showing of what's going on my channel, how I'm getting so many fake claims. We have videos still being taken down for no reason, and that is music that is free to use, and I've even sent to YouTube the statement where the owner shows I can use the music but I cannot get it released. And then all these copyright claims, release, 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 and it goes on. And just a random one to show you. And they say, oh, good news, your dispute wasn't reviewed within 30 days, so the copyright claim has now been released. And this is what they do all the time. You have to say that if you're wrong, they will take your channel down and your videos down. But if the person who's put the claim up doesn't do anything for 30 days, oh, never mind, carry on, just do hundreds more, as many claims as you want to claim. So this is all one piece of music, and you would think it would be illegal or something that happens to them if they just keep doing it again and again all over your channel. So you're sitting doing these claims day in and day out, and there's no penalty for people to do this, and they just don't have to do anything else, and 30 days later you can be released. So more has been going on with my disputes against YouTube for many different reasons, and they are picking on all of my channels for different reasons. And I have stated below in the previous videos listed below as to what all those things are. And the main point today is the fact that other channels, which I'm going to link below so you can watch the content for yourself, other channels are allowed to deliberately and continually break all the codes and the policies and the rules of YouTube, and I have been advised to report them all, because the more they allow those channels to continue with those points in their videos, and then they pick on channels like my own for not breaking any policies, is more kudos to my channel to show that my channels are being targeted. And I've stated before why I believe this is so. And one of the reasons that they often give is when you get a strike or just a notification that your video is going to be held or demonetized or whatever they're deciding to do today, each day it changes, then they say you need to put your reason. When you put your reason, they then come back and say they're not accepting that reason, whatever it is. Let's say it's a music strike, and you actually give the owners right to use that music and the URL which says you can use it, and they come back and they say you cannot reuse this reason, and this reason is not a valid reason. And I've briefly spoken before about how you do a court claim, and before you can actually fill in the form for the court claim, you have to tick the box, or else you cannot continue with the form, and you have to tick the box to say you do not hold the person liable in any shape or form, as you realise it's a mistake that they have made. Yet blatantly under that they state the fact that if you make a mistake, you will be liable, you will incur fines, penalties and permanent removal of your channel. Yet again and again, these other channels can get away with real problems and real issues. And let me briefly say now that any of the things I use in this video or in the description from those channels has been cleared and passed by YouTube, because as I say, I've been told to report them to prove the point that they are not removed, even those sections of videos or the video in its entirety. And they are continual people who just keep putting the same thing up. And one of the clips or pieces I'm going to put in the URL under this video is someone who actually had so many complaints by a piece of music used that they have no rights to. You'll hear the music and you'll know they haven't got a right to use it. Very popular pieces of music. And to stick their fingers up, they have basically put a video out more recently in the last few weeks, again using an old clip. So half their video is old content, showing this clip again in its entirety, which is 10 minutes or more long, using pieces of music they cannot use. And I'm pretty sure none of you read all those updated terms and policies with YouTube and any other social media or other things on the computer. If you did, you will see a lot of the changes has been made because of my previous cases that state certain things are not legal that they are doing, and now I notice how their disclaimers have changed quite a lot. They now actually state, because I have said if someone's taken me to court over using music that they actually say I can use, then it needs for the actual owner to be taken me to court, not by a third party. Now, part of YouTube terms and conditions, it actually now states it can be a third party, and it never said that in the past. So that is one thing they have changed after I told them what I had been advised, that it was a legal issue. A third party cannot take you to court. I'm still sitting here checking all my channels daily, because you don't always get notifications that you've got strikes or fake copyright issues. The only way you can check is to literally go on your own channel, and where you've got your content of videos you've posted, your shorts page if you do shorts, your live page if you do lives, and literally scroll down every single bit of content you've done. Now, I do that one day, and the next day there will be other ones that are then. So you can't do it one time and it's done. And I advise you, particularly if you're not monetarised, to do this. Because if ever the day came when it said you can be monetarised, even if you choose not to monetarise, you will then be liable for all those places where it says there's an issue or a copyright issue. Even if you say, but I'm not going to be monetarised, I don't want it. The day you are at the category of being able to be monetised, they can then take action against you. And as I say, you don't do it one time. You can go in, for me personally, daily, and there'll be another one. Since I started making these videos, there is one particular person that keeps coming at me, and to date I have now done counterclaims 304 times to this one person, and yet YouTube says there's nothing they can do about that. So they say then they have no control over their own platform, which is not correct. And as I've obviously said, I hope you picked up on the fact they're not talking about videos that you've just done today, new videos. I've got to go back over 800 videos just on this channel, and that's not including lives and shorts on a daily basis. And I won't go too much into the copyright of music again. I've covered that already. It's not just a case of not using music. There are other ways they can flag your channel. So, but I've also talked about the music side of things as well. and it's no good using music from YouTube only, because the music I've used to cover music in some respects, that gets flagged too. And as I've talked about, they are flagging old videos. It's not a case of what I've recently posted. They are going back from the day I started posting on YouTube. So do not think there should be a cut-off point after a video's been posted for, let's say, even a year. It cannot have claims against it. We're talking 4 years or more that they are going back on videos. And something I've noticed today when I was doing my counter strike claims was some of it comes up. There's a little word in the corner that if you're doing a proper strike, a full strike against your channel, you have to do your first claim, and it says put in absolutely everything that says you're right. You put that in, then it comes back and said none of these are valid claims in their opinion. If you want to go further, put in a full court claim. When you go to put that in, it keeps coming up, well, we give you a chance to actually counteract this, and then we will put your video or whatever it is back to the status it was, i.e. we take all your money on your monetized channel. Because when you do the full court claim, it then says you can't use anything you've previously put. And remember, they ask you to put absolutely everything to prove you're right in the first section. And what can you do when you have the full rights to use something blatantly on someone's channel? You can use any part of it as long as you fully credit them. And then when YouTube says, well, you have to have them come, it's their bit of music, only they can counteract it, and you contact them and you get no response. What can you do then? Some people I do have communication with and they deal with it. Some people I have communication with and they are fed up with me, keep coming back for every single strike and saying, well, we've told you once you can. We gave you an email that you can copy and paste to say, no, you are right using it. We can't do it every single time, and YouTube has rejected that claim from that person anyway, and they said there's nothing more we can do, we're not interested, let YouTube take us to court and we will deal with it. But of course they're not taking them to court, they are taking me to court. So what can you do? So I've just written down some notes here so I remember to tell you all of them. As I say, look in the description. I might have flagged the channels there so you can actually look at the timestamp and the issue. If I put anything in this video when I edit it back, I will remind you, no matter how vile something may appear or how awful it may appear, anything I put in this video is what I have reported, and YouTube says it is fine to use. So I may well add something in here to show you that YouTube has said it is fine to use. There's nothing wrong with it. And I want to do it as an experiment to show you if I put it in my video, it would be good if they say you cannot use it when they have said you can use it when I've reported it. And this is the advice I've been given. As long as I report everything I see that contravenes the policies, then they cannot attack me for things that I have done that are totally fine to do. And it's just really flagging the big channels that do whatever they like. And I have discussed before why certain channels are allowed to do whatever they like with no penalty. So if I'm inserting something, I will insert it here. So do you think that is right? That was on the video, let me see. That was on the video. It starts at the timestamp 140 onwards. are deliberately laughing. They often used to laugh in the past about how they can do whatever they like. They have mentioned that, and I can't find the video where they're specifically doing that because I don't want to watch their videos and give them credit. So he gives the finger, and they actually made a point of going to film that bit. They're laughing and laughing. The owner of the channel zooms in, holds it there for a long time, and so on and so forth. And at that point, you could do vile content. You could report that. If you try and report something now, you will see there's a lot of things you can no longer report. You can no longer report copyright music being used, because they now say to copyright music, the actual owner of the music is now the only person to copyright it. So as far as I'm concerned, then you could use any music you like, and as long as the copyright person doesn't hear it or see it, you're fine. So do what you like. Do what you like. And if you get caught, well, you're being taken to court for using music you can use anyway. So that would be your counter action to say, well, it makes no difference what music I use. Surely. Now, I'm doing my naming and shaming, and the reason I'm naming and shaming is because, as I say, the things they do, no one can pull them up on it apart from if it's music, the copyright owners, and these are repeated offenders in many different ways. And the reason I'm sharing these with you is because my legal advice, which might be something you think, oh, I couldn't pay for legal advice, so I'm helping you. These are things, if you're getting, let's say music copyright strikes, but whatever your reason is that YouTube is getting you for that is not your fault or is not correct, you need to have some counterclaims on your side. So these are things to file away. You need to report whatever your issue is that you're being flagged for. You need to report someone that is actually doing wrong for that reason. So let's stick with music copyright for now. You need to go on the videos that I'm telling you, or find your own, and you go on the videos, you timestamp it, and you make a note of it as I have done. So let me give you an example. The Chateau Diaries, yet again. The video is called Still No Kitchen in Sight. Write down the timestamp 5.27, and the music copyright is Living on a Prayer. So you write that down, and then you write down your reasoning. And my reasoning, the reason I've picked this one specifically, is it's not being used for background music, it's being used for the story content. So it's not just background music, they are blatantly using it, editing it in, making the story of that with that music. So I've put your reasoning used as story content, not just as loud background music. So this is what I'm saying. You need these already written down, time-stamped and reported if you're able to report them, because you need to have reported them so that when you get flagged, you can say, but I've reported actual music use, copyright music, and you get a little list comes up. You click on the list, it tells you what's happened to your reports. And this one says it's still acceptable. It's live. There's no problem with that video. So that's what you need. And then you copy that as well when you get that message back. Build up a little file, and they cannot do you for copyright music. If technically you could even use copyright music, but they will say you can't use copyright music. If you use Living on a Prayer, why don't we all use that one now? And then if you get flagged for that, you can come back with, but hold on, it was being used in this video and it's been cleared when I've reported it to YouTube. Let's do another music one, because you need more than one. You need several to show it's happening all the time. And I'm picking on certain channels where they're blatantly doing it all the time. So the next one is Chateau Diaries. The Chateau Diaries yet again. This video is called Launching Our New Products and Revealing Our Plans for the New Kitchen. So you write all that down, and then you write the music they're using, and it's Holding Out for a Hero, and you write who the music is sung by, and that's Bonnie Tyler. And then you have to write your reasoning, and it's music used for, again, actual content, and it's the second time this same clip has been used by this channel as repeated copyright content. So you write all that down, and then the one I told you or showed you with the finger up, so if you're being done for doing something wrong, let's say, that channel is Escape to Rural France. And that video, you have to put the video title, and that's called, oh, I didn't tell you, the Bonnie Tyler one, the timestamp for that is 5.12, and it continues all the way to 6.05, 6 minutes 5 seconds. You need that, and that was a good one to pick because it went on so long as well, so you can't even say, oh, you're allowed to play music for a certain time. The finger up one is Escape to Rural France. That video title you have to write down is I Levelled Out the Second Floor Ready for Installation. You have to write the timestamp of where that starts, the issue, and that is 1 minute 40 seconds onwards, 1.40 onwards, and you have to put about it. I took 4 screenshots of it, which is good to take screenshots, but I also added to that basically giving the finger, deliberately laughing, making a big deal of it, zoomed in on it. And the bottom line of all these things is, as well, they're deliberately keeping it in the edit. So you can't even say it was alive and, oh, yes, I shouldn't have done it. So copy all those links down, report all those, and then, as I say, whatever your issues are, find a video that's done it for real or blatantly. And all law in all countries is if someone's been cleared of a misdemeanour, they cannot then charge someone else with the same misdemeanour. It sets a precedence. So yes, copy all those, look out for other ones, you must report them, and that's basically that. So I've logged all these in a Word document. I've logged all those, logged them all down, and just kept a file on them. As I say, screenshots are good if it's anything other than actual video. If you're able to save the actual clip, then that's good as well. But get it in its context or what it's supposed to be. Now, as I say, you get this list comes up when you report things. It's all on like one page, anything you've ever reported. You need to name and shame if your channel's being taken down for no reason. So you get this list of what's still live, what's happening with them. Funny enough, 2 of them, of the content of what I've reported has disappeared. You can't see what the channel is or what the issue is, and it says now unavailable, and that's not what's happened with the channel. It's saying the information is unavailable. That's very interesting. So it's basically been removed, the report, but they haven't taken action, because if they've taken action, they put video removed or content cut out or whatever's happened, or muted, whatever's occurred with them. So the only one there that says has now been removed is, I'm sure some of you have seen, there's lots of channels out there where they do a kind of where are they now, and they have let's talk about Little House on the Prairie, because that's the one that's now been removed. They have a picture of a character in it then and a picture of them now. and they've got the Waltons like that, any program or film or TV program, and they've got the two images, and the second image is always one of four things. They're either really old and haggard, like terribly, very AI. They're either in a wheelchair with no arms and no legs. These kind of things, they're like shock tactics. And I report those channels because they're all fake. YouTube does not remove them. They've only removed one of all of those types of videos because I know one of the people, one of the actresses that is in one of those programs. Oh, the Brady Bunch, they do it with that. Anything you can think of. And I reported it. They said to me, sorry, you can't report it. It doesn't affect you, even though you might be distraught by it, or I know that person, they're not like that. You cannot report it. This is what I say. They're stopping you actually reporting anything. They said, you don't know. It has to be reported by the actual people in the video. So I contacted the person I know. That is the only video that has been taken down out of those. So ask yourself, I've got my little list. Ask yourself why all these channels are allowed to remain. Also ask yourself why the blatant prejudice and discrimination against good channels that do no wrong and the bad channels that totally do wrong are, why is that allowed? It is blatant prejudice and discrimination. Ask yourself why certain channels, even when reported, are allowed to deliberately contravene all policies, terms and conditions of videos on YouTube, and yet innocent channels that never break any rules are constantly targeted and have videos and content continually removed when no fault can be shown. Let me know your answer. If you want to name and shame any channels below, super, let's share. Thanks for listening.